Hi, a film I was interested to see and caught up with this week was John and Julie, an early Peter Sellers film from 1955. It's the story of two young children, of the title, who leave their small town in Dorset to travel up to London to see the Queen's coronation. Julie escapes from her girls' boarding school, John being a local boy whose father is played by Sid James, and as they travel, their parents and various other authorities try to track them down before they can reach the boy's uncle, who is in the Horse Guards and will be acting as one of the Queen's escorts. It's a very antiquated film. It takes for granted the idea that everyone is incredibly excited for the coronation, is incredibly supportive of the royal family, and at the time that may well be true, but obviously that's changed quite a bit these days. Um, so another element that I thought was strange was I had assumed that the film would be for a child audience. The main characters are children. It's largely from a child's point of view, and the humour is generally quite child friendly. But once John and Julie reach London, they get involved with various groups of people. In particular, they get separated, and Julie is taken under the wing of a prostitute, a sort of glamorous call girl type who looks after her and takes her to a group of sort of a youth club outing supervised by her husband and wife, while John winds up with a group of. No, I've got it the wrong way around because it's quite boring. Uh, John winds up with the youth club. Julie winds up with a group of Australian ex-servicemen, leader of whom is being played by Peter Jones, while the head of the youth club is played by Colin Gordon, who we remembered from The Prisoner. And as the two search Trafalgar Square, they wind up getting into a gigantic brawl, which comes to an abrupt halt when they all see the police coming. It's got this very weird tone to it. There's some stuff that's very child friendly and some stuff that isn't. It feels like it's a children's film, but made by people who don't really know what children want to see. So it's as though the Children's Film Foundation didn't come along soon enough. Peter Sellers plays a policeman in a small role. It was his second live action non goon role, previous one being Orders Are Orders, which starred Tony Hancock. This stars Hancock's regular co star Sid James, and his next film would star Katie Johnson, the Lady Killers, who has a very small role here. In addition, the film also has an unbilled cameo by Michael Bentine, Sellers' fellow goon, who appears very briefly and not in the same scene as Sellers. So historically, it's a notable production for that reason. It does have comedy actors of yesteryear who are popular and might well be recognisable, but overall the film is somewhat thin, somewhat old-fashioned. Sid James' character, who is repeatedly threatening to beat his son, is the only one not interested in the coronation, but as soon as he sees the procession itself, he immediately becomes a flag-waving royalist. I don't think that's dated terribly well. So the film does have historical interest, and it's not by any means bad, but it is oddly lumpy in its structure and is definitely a product of 1955.